Let's explore Panic and Recover, Go's mechanism for handling exceptions. We will learn to deal with unrecoverable errors and to handle errors gracefully. A panic is a built-in function in Go that halts the normal execution of a Go routine. Panics are used for unrecoverable errors. These are the errors that make it impossible for the program to continue its execution. Here's an example. We define a main function that calls the panic function with the message, "Something went wrong." The comment says, "This line never executes." The line with the message after panic will never be executed because panic will halt the program before that. So when does a panic occur? Here are some common scenarios. Panic can occur when trying to access an array or a slice outside of its bounds, when attempting to use a nil pointer, when a type assertion fails, and when performing operations on closed channels. Here's an example of a runtime panic. We define a main function that declares a slice of integers. When we try to print the element at index 10 of the slice, it will cause a panic because the index is out of bounds. Recover is a built-in function in Go used to regain control of a panicking Go routine. It must be called inside a deferred function. The recover function returns the value passed to the panic function. Here's an example. We define a function called safe function. Inside safe function, we use the keyword defer to define an anonymous function. Inside this anonymous function, we call the recover function and check if the returned value is not nil. If the returned value is not nil, then we print the recovered value. After the deferred function, we call the panic function with the message, "Oh no." Here is a complete example of panic and recover working together. We define a function called divide that takes two integer arguments, a and b, and returns an integer. We use the defer keyword to define an anonymous function that calls the recover function. If the recover function returns a non-nil value, it means that a panic occurred. In this case, we print the message division by 0. Inside the divide function, we check if b is equal to 0. If it is, we call the panic function with the message cannot divide by 0. Otherwise, we return the result of dividing a by b. When should we use panic versus errors? Use panic for unrecoverable errors, programming bugs, invalid configurations, or critical system failures. Use errors for expected failure conditions, such as a file not being found, network timeouts, or user input validation. Here are some best practices to keep in mind. Use panic sparingly, always recover in a deferred function, don't ignore recovered panics, log panic information, and prefer errors for expected failures. Here's an example of proper recovery. We use the defer keyword to define an anonymous function that calls the recover function. If the recover function returns a non-nil value, we log the panic and handle it gracefully by calling a handle error function. Let's summarize the key takeaways. Use panic for unrecoverable errors that should stop program execution immediately. Use recover to regain control from panics using defer functions for graceful handling. Use these tools responsibly. Errors for expected failures, panic for the unexpected.
If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit CodeLucky.com for more such useful content.